everybody. Hello. Welcome to Southport Soapbox. If this is your first time here at Southport Soapbox, can I hear you say yes? Yes. If you've been to Southport Soapbox before, can I hear you say, I'm a lying bastard? Because this is the first one. Tonight we've got 7 poets for you, 1 comedian, and whatever the hell it is that Aaron is, for your entertainment. As I say, the event is called Southport Soapbox. What do we do on a soapbox? We speak our mind, don't we? So I say, everyone just say whatever the hell you feel like saying. If some people may find it offensive, then well, fuck them. I'd be offended. Personally, I think anyone that can start a riot, get themselves arrested, or even just get their heads kicked in by something they've said, has done very well. I'd like to start by saying, fuck the system, fuck every political party, fuck the royal family, fuck the whole ruling class, fuck the EU, and fuck Brexit. Absolutely. Anarchy. Go fool into the new world with the crowd, afraid to walk solo, but the sleepy are waking up, you know. We stand so proud, we shout so loud, words we send to when the trend of go with flow, till only slow still bow below their feet off Prince's seats. Like sheep to slaughter, the masses follow. See how they bleed to welcome their own defeat. See how they swallow. See how they take it to the hilt and beg for more. See how they wilt and grovel before man's law. See how they follow. See how they wallow in scripted sorrow. See things change tomorrow. The seed of Eden the truth sows. See lie like vine choking as it grows. Soon all shall see the emperor has no clothes, and witness new world's last death throes. Yes. First up, we have from the Wirral, or as they call it in Wales, Aaron. Let's hear it for Aaron.
Cool, thank you very much. Recently, this is going to lose the mic for us, that's very kind. Yeah, I found the first page we're going to do. Earlier this month, I was working as a night cleaner at Aintree Races for 3 days. I haven't written about it yet, but on the first day, about 5:30, I managed to look out on the field and saw the sun. I saw the Liverpool skyline shimmering, and yeah, I've not written about that, but it is scared, it's spurring me on. This is from the last day cleaning. Shoes. Before the light in the sky makes blue, walked up the cheapest hill. Tables, and on the furthest end, an expensive pair of high-heeled strapped children's shoes. I was reminded of the journalist on discovering Parson Nathaniel unconscious, when journalist outran the encroaching red weed. I could not place dew-ridden shoes in plastic sack of gripped refuse. No evidence this happens, but just suppose. Every year at the national grandest he comes, all watching track until chosen moment dawns. From a sack, places unseen, newly bought children's shoes, so that his loved daughter as ghost can watch the horses race around at yearly expense, rest of his life indulge, the latest shoes for the one who he is ruled by, just so his daughter's ghost can watch the horses racing round. Thank you. Some short ones, but before we build to a climax, so I'll get able to talk. Millisecond flashing sequence. Watch too much hypnotism. All who saw you flashing lights transfixed. Stared at the blank strike down patterns from Split, and the sound poison subconscious rudely treat. Laughter effort. The lock worked out with yes, I was prisoner. I like this one, escape from magnets. I don't want to listen any music. Shield from recharge of the more overt computers, which the seconds flake away in excitement. I can't find any work for the harvest. I stare at empty buildings, unsold apartments. For a joke, pain always brings me an old job. I just need trickles of ink, but what's stopping me? I don't want to lose Earth's magnetic tues, knowing where the ending is. I'm going a bit longer now. This is, if you think this one's too long, you're missing out the build up, and if you miss the build up, this is the audition, the friend, and the protester. Ah, there's a question. What possible objection do you have or can stem from working with me? I'll face customer test, have my visor reflect, picture golf balls struck as evidence, in my head a lunar surface, task attempted complete, and when finished, ask once again, what possible objection in employing me? That's good, son, let you know when, can be sure to stop the fake acting, leave details to never get to you. Okay, who's next? Dejected by audition in the streets, met old friend who had new job. He told me, amazing, I can split into clones of me, and we float in the sky, a line, beam of destruction from our power rains down. I tried getting words in his attention, but he was lost in the banter of his workmate clones, the same voice from many sides congratulating. Aha, the perfect job. Aha, the in-laws proved wrong. Aha, with no thought or regard for inhabitants. Aha, together as one charge we destroy. Aha, workmate, friends forever. So I crossed the road and protest marched. Most beautiful woman I'd ever seen. Anxiety went shopping. I could start a conversation. Stop the beams in the country, destroying families, livelihoods, belongings. Engrossed I took many leaflets, had much sex if you count that as touching, until spokesfigure of campaign thrust onto me. After regional news feed, a live campaign appeal. Responded well, but at the time, can you stand into the light and not be screaming? Hey, I know you. I knew the fake acting. Let me broadcast your details instead of emergency appeal. Okay, who's next? My old friend who had lost job. My clones destruct. As friends, I have none. Interrupted by the beautiful protester. You broke my heart. That's wrong message. My friend again. Talked myself over. Now just me. The protester. You have damaged our cause and message. Then a donator accosted me to give donation. No, they gave the wrong number on television. Next, the affected swarmed for the money. Cornered, but phone call. Hopes dashed. Never got the job. They saw working alongside me caused far too many objections. So okay, who's next? Thank you. Basically, one final one. Got a tinier one than that. Tinier one to how it all ends as nicely as it begins. Childish scribbles. A take of a day to adjust what could have started along when it touched. A spillage of nonsenses detected, so to overcome initial hostilities slow down to reveal what up against. Distracted by movie of a crashing plane. Another touch of their crayons until paper taken away. Chastised to play nicely. After the cry, disturbing silence as she draws a painting of your very house. Thank you very much. I'll see you next month.
Yes, thank you, Aaron. Thank you to everybody who's come tonight, but especially thanks to those who have travelled some way to be here. I know some of you have come from Liverpool. Aaron's travelled from, is it Venus, Aaron? Mars? The Wirral. Excellent. Now, some of you may be aware, in Southport there is actually a bit of a comedy scene. When I first came across this comedy scene, it was basically just a few blokes telling each other jokes in a pub, and if there happened to be any customers in that pub that would have been there anyway, they would have had an audience. But it has since evolved, and I last saw them perform in the Blue Anchor on Thursday 2 weeks ago, and I spoke to many people in the audience who had actually come there to see them. We're very lucky to have two comedians from the Southport comedy scene here tonight. I'd like to welcome the first one up, James. If you'd like to make his way to the stage, have a bit of comedy. Thanks very much, James. I'd like to get it to James. Take your hand, come up. The microphone's got your hand on the mic there. It looks a good there, the right height for you. Come on. Yeah, do you want it out? Yeah, there you go.
Freestyle.
Wise of you, right? Excellent.
So, goodness me, I feel like I'm in the wrong place. Talented people. I don't know any poetry. Roses are red, marigolds are orange, nothing rhymes with orange, have some chocolate. I don't know. So, right, here we are. I know what you're looking at. I know what you're looking at me and you're thinking, Andre Bocelli's let himself go a bit, hasn't he? So, it's good to be here. Anybody seen me before?
Yeah.
Have you?
Right. Your wife.
Oh, right. Alright, okay, that's a good start. Yeah. Yeah. Hey?
Hello.
Yeah, it's good to be here at the Leo Bar. Although you probably call it the Leo if you're a regular. Anybody regular? Yeah. Yeah. Look at you. Look at you. Cynical. That's a shit joke. Yeah, you know, when you like a pub, you shorten the name a bit, don't you? Because you feel comfortable with it. And you know, like the Leo Bar becomes the Leo, the Coronation becomes a Corrie, and the Blue Anchor becomes a Blue. It doesn't work with country in, though, does it? I did actually, I walked into a bar the other day, and then a tree and a lamppost. I was having a really bad day. Yeah, I actually passed a black cat on the way here. That was a hell of a bowel movement. You got that? That's good, yeah. I might seem a bit anxious and a bit tense. That's because I've got a stress ball, but luckily Mother Ball's quite relaxed, so we're good to go. So yeah, if you haven't seen me before, my name is James. Some people do call me Jim, which is ironic considering I never go into one. My wife is quite partial to Hamish, which is understandable. He's a lovely chap and very handy around the house. Because, for obvious reasons, I can't do DIY. I'm lazy. And there you go. But we'll address that right away, because I have got what some of you would consider a disability, and others would call it an impairment. I like to just call it what it is. I'm Scottish. I've been Scottish a long time. I'm coming to terms with it. I hope you can see past that and see me for the person I really am. I do have good and bad days. I bump into things a lot. I blame the alcohol for that. But no, I am alluding to the fact that I am blind. In case you were thinking, what a pretentious prick. Wearing sunglasses indoors at night. It is night time, isn't it? Yeah. But the glasses, they're there for a couple of reasons. One of them is a medical reason. I had a one-night stand with a nurse and I don't want her to recognise me. And the other one is I'm not the best looking guy in the world, so the most of my face I can cover up the better, I suppose. But there's worse things than being blind, like being deaf. And wouldn't you know, I'm deaf as well. These are not Bluetooth speakers, so. But it's all right. I mean, I don't even know this mic is on, really. You should be so lucky. Can you hear me okay? Yeah, take the mickey at the deaf guy. Can you see me? Yeah, I go and wind it up. That's fine. If I was in a wheelchair and said, "Can you walk faster than me?" would you answer? Yeah, you would, wouldn't you, bag of bastards? Yeah. So I am Scottish, that I'm saying, and one of the myths about being Scottish is I was not raised on a diet of Iron Brew and deep fried Mars bars. I have never eaten a deep fried Mars bar in my life, even though I look like I've had my fair share. I have, however, had deep fried ice cream. I saw this in a Thai restaurant once and just wanted to have it and wondered how they did it. They use a solid block of ice cream, they dip it in pancake batter, deep fry for about 30 seconds, dribble melted syrup over it, like lava, and they run to your table like a maniac, and the waiter's like, you eat now! And so I just panicked when he was standing over me like a prison guard. I was like, I just took it in one mouthful, and it's a very weird sensation. You scald the whole entire side of your mouth, but you also get brain freeze, all in the same mouthful. Another myth about Scotland is we don't all come from Glasgow. You know, there are 5 million of us. So, but my grandfather did come from Glasgow. So I'm just trying to find this. I do take the turn to the right, which is about disconcerting considering I'm a socialist. So I just threw a political joke in there. There you go. Yeah, my grandfather came from Glasgow, but he left Glasgow after the war. He was sick of the whole, you know, the bigotry and all that. You know, everybody knows about the Protestant Catholic thing in Glasgow. So he left all about that. You know, he was sick of hearing this, like, ah, you Fenian bastard, and ah, you dirty Hun, and all that stuff. So, but he did find that sometimes they can come together, the two, you know, warring parties, under the right circumstances. If they're just about to have a fight, and then they go, is that a southerner over there? And, yeah, I think it is. Let's go kick the shite out of him. You know? And then they go up to him and go, where are you from? And the guy goes, I'm from Newcastle, like. That's okay, you're one of us. We don't mind Geordies for some reason. And Ants and Deck together just about make a decent Scotsman. But yeah, that's the thing with Glasgow. It's a very intimidating accent. Doesn't matter what they say, it sounds threatening and intimidating. You know, if you meet a Glaswegian in town and he's collecting for a charity, would you like to donate to the Deaf Children's Society? You think he's asking for your ears. You know, it's a scary thing. Can you show me the way to the children's play area? Whereas I come from the northeast of Scotland, like the Highlands, and we have a much more musical and relaxed kind of tone to our accents. Like, hello, you know, would you like to come to the abattoir and see some nice dead animals? You know, it's lovely, you know. If you get mugged in the northeast, it's very polite. I'm going to mug you now. Now, if you behave, I won't stab you too much. You know, cheers for that, Grandma. You know. I had a Scottish guy come up to me after a gig recently and went, I don't think someone like you should do comedy. I said, what do you mean someone like me? He said, it's because I'm blind. He went, no, because you're not funny. I said, oh, cheers, Dad. I said, look, come on, Dad, do you really not think I'm funny? He went, no, I don't think you're funny. I said, can't you be positive about me just once in my life? He went, okay, I'm absolutely positive you're not funny. But that's not true. And my dad's one of my biggest fans, and probably my only fan, next to my wife. And he recently celebrated quite a milestone birthday. I won't say about it, he doesn't like me talking about his age, but suffice to say, he's old enough, he can remember the last time Everton won a trophy. That's how old he is. There's no blues in the room, is there? Yeah. Oh, there's always one. Yeah, a good result the other day, isn't it? Yeah, 4 now, good. Yeah, well, you know. But I would love to do this full time. I've been doing it a while, but I would love to do it full. I understand with my conditions, I have to work extra hard because let's face it, you know, wit, charm and looks to die for are only going to get me so far. Nothing. That's because that was a serious thing. I know, obviously I've got a talent, and obviously it's not comedy. But you know, it's probably because I don't generally tell jokes, I just like to tell little stories. For example, me and my wife went through the car wash yesterday, and she was absolutely livid. We don't have a car. No, that's obviously not true. We do have a car. We got lost in the car yesterday, actually, which is ridiculous. It's not that big a car. But the sat-nav said we'd gone the wrong way. So my wife turned all the way around, which didn't help because then the steering wheel was behind her. So, and we pulled into a petrol station, and my wife started filling up. I don't know why she gets emotional in petrol stations, but there you go. So she got out of the car and said, shall I check the tyres? And I went, no, leave them plain black, that's how I like them. You are here. It's on. There you go. I was in the park with my wife the other day, and we saw a guy with a bag full of budgies. He was taking them out one at a time. He was hitting them over the trees with a tennis racket. So I said, mate, why are you hitting budgies over the trees with a tennis racket? And he said, because the chickens keep breaking the strings. My neighbour came round the other day, which was great news because he's been unconscious for 3 days. I recently had a mole removed. It was ruining the back garden. I used to be obsessed with crosswords, but now I'm okay. Now I don't get too down. That's a thing, I'm also quite a successful writer. I did a course and now I've got my own business. I write fantasy porn for the visually impaired, but I write it in Braille. And my customers tell me it's the best thing they've come across. It's a little fact for you. There's over 400 characters in Braille. There's not one that says don't touch. So yeah, I got quite depressed when I lost my sight and my hearing, and I went on a course. I went in a support group, and when I was at the support group, then they were doing all the usual things. When you start, you sit around in a circle, and they tell you, respect everybody's opinions, and one voice at a time, where's the toilets, all the usual stuff. And this woman jumped up and says, I want to put my point across before we even start. I'm not going to listen to any blasphemy. I won't have it. I don't want any bad language. No need for it. And I won't stand for any sexist remarks. No, I'm not having it. So I was like, okay. But Jesus Christ, you're in for a fucking rough day, sugar tits. So I'm not sure how long we've got, but I'll probably leave you there. It'll be safer to leave you there. But thanks for listening. So good to see you. Just in case somebody thought it was a gimmick.
James, that was shit. Damn
Is that Colin?
Say it one more time for James. Yes. Next one we have a fabulous poet from Southport. Can you please welcome to the stage Pam? Yeah.
We've just had Easter.
Yay.
And on Friday, I got in a taxi. And I had a real shock. Because the taxi driver did not know what Good Friday was. And he was English and had been born here. So I went home and had a think about Good Friday. I am a retired priest, you need to know that as well. So my first two poems are about Good Friday. Deeper, deeper, deeper down. Deeper, deeper, deeper still. Down and down and down again, till you fulfill your Father's will. Not the pain, the blows, the scorn, not the anguish or the fears. Even at your darkest hour, you recognized your Father's will. Darker, darker, darker yet. Darker, darker, darker still. Even at that dreadful time, you obey your Father's will. The veil is rent, your spirit's free. You paid the price, you died for me. The debt is gone, the deed is done. The way is clear, for all, not some. Brighter, brighter, brighter be, brighter, brighter, brighter still. Life and light and hope and love, as we obey our Father's will. And the second one, about Good Friday. I actually went to a talk earlier in the week, and the lady who gave the talk had some beautiful visual images of different crucifixes, which I'd never seen before. I look and see. His head is bent, his eyes are closed, his shoulders bent beneath the load. His heart is sad. They did not hear the message that he came to share. He lifts his head up to the skies, and there his Father he espies. His eyes wide open, his arms are strong, as he realizes he can do no more. His job is done as God's own Son. He has opened heaven's door. To all that will call upon his name, the price has been paid eternally. I look again, my head held high. My eyes are wide, my Saviour stands close to me. My heart is glad, my soul is free. My life has been given back to me. 7 years. So this one that I wrote about spring is linked to my time in Canada, where spring doesn't really exist. It goes from snow to sun, winter to summer in a matter of days. Harbingers of spring. Oh, how I miss them over there. The harbingers of spring that never came. From snow to sun, from winter to summer, so quick, so fast. At first I didn't realise just how much I missed. Those snowdrops, pretty white drooping heads. Purple and yellows of crocuses bright, that caused such a surge of great delight. But over there, with fear of ice and falling over in a trice, their absence was only made clear much, much later in the year. No naturalised spread in open green spaces, all were confined to ordered beds. And then I realised, to my shame, I had not noticed the absence of sun. The daffodils, tall and bright, that lifted their trumpets to the sun, if there at all, were very, very small. Oh, how I miss them. Over here I searched, and those I found too were rather small. King Alfred's were what I wanted. The Tate were what I found. A pound a bunch from market stall, not very impressive at all. I think that's what I'll settle for, our childhood memories of wildwoods filled with glorious harbingers of spring. Or, in the words of Wordsworth, I wandered lonely as a cloud that floats on high o'er dales and hills, and all at once I saw a crowd, a host of golden daffodils, beside the lake beneath the trees, fluttering and dancing in the breeze. And my last one is something I met yesterday as I was walking along, and I suddenly saw something on the ground in front of me. Unexpected encounter. Slithering, sliding smoothly along, the tiny snail in spherical, spirally shell moved along the hot, rough pavement. How relieved he seemed as I gently picked him up. His head stayed out as he explored with interest my fingers, my hand that had rescued him. To me, the sun was providing unexpected warmth, and I was basking gratefully in its blaze. Not so for that tiny snail. Placing him carefully into green grass, the tiny snail in spherical, spirally shell glided along most gratefully. Now he could search and find the cool, the moisture. His head stayed out as he explored with interest, the grass, the flowers and the damp soil. These were providing him with what he needed, and he basked gratefully in its cool.
Thank you very much, Pam. Sounds absolutely wonderful. Let's hear it again for Pam. Next up we have Tony, who is the host of the Poetry Night in Liverpool on the first Monday of each month at the Big House on Lime Street. That's not the Big House in Walton, it's a Big House on Lime Street, and it's always a great night. We can get down. So, Tony!
Thanks, Steve. Great for the first night, mate. Good things ahead. I don't use a mic, by the way, I shout. All right. This is Manslaughter Mile. High walls and hemlines out on Manslaughter Mile. Plead eyes, plead you dry. Hoodie, can you spare a smile? All human life in a closing down sale. There's nothing here for free. Low life for a high price, as far as the eye can see. Love on a minicab backseat and a streetcar name for hire. The mobile pimp is rear viewing. He's charging by the smile. High price bloodletting out on the vampire beat. The butchers are out to bleed you dry in this abattoir of human meat. They're looking for a victim. Won't take their killer eyes off you. Dressed up for the cemetery. in their killer high-heeled shoes, ladders in their pantyhose imploring that you climb the stairway to hell to a death sublime. It's evening time and the living is sleazy, out on Manslaughter Mile. Avert your gaze and lower your eyes, don't ever let them see you cry, or you will partake in this freak show, become a statistic of street crime, where the henchmen all have henchmen, where the ladies have a task. Whatever your perversion, you only have to ask. There's a femme fatale for everyone. No one here goes without. You will never be found wanting. Be sated, of that there is no doubt. Try to keep your faith secret. Make sure you secrete your wad. Sadism is the new religion. Satan is the patron saint of God. Here Jesus is the Antichrist, the street king Beelzebub. Life membership is not too long when you join the Vile High Club. Belladonna knows your business, but no one wants to know your name. She will know of your penchant. The name of her game is pain. So don't ever raise your hopes, and never ever raise a smile. It would not enhance your chances out on Manslaughter Mile. Don't take the journey if you're handsome, or have tattoos in the latest style. Your flesh will be held for ransom out on Manslaughter Mile. Don't take anything for granted. The unexpected is the norm. The bizarre here is passé. It's all been done before. Your epiphany will manifest, will show its darker side. 4 horsemen who never rest, imploring that you ride. Incantations of the crazy, psalms of the oppressed, deeds of insanity by Satan have been blessed. Manslaughter Mile's a one-way street. They've got death down to perfection. You follow the final exit sign. It only goes in one direction. If you're dying for excitement, you will get your last requests. You'll be expired on the mile tonight with the reaper's loving last caress. It may feel like eternity, however long eternity may be. There will be a long line of tomorrows. Join the line for Hangman's Tree. Join the willing and oppressed. You'll never walk alone. Jot your cab, tug your lock as you pass Satan's throne. Odd numbers to the right, wrong numbers to the left. It's pointless to fight where hope now stands bereft. Manslaughter Mile is waiting. Don't bother to get dressed. Be assured you will not feel the chill. You'll burn like all the rest. Thank you for that. Sorry about the wait on this. Didn't even know.
Sure, it'll be worth it.
It might well not be. This is on a John Kibber Clark, really, Beasley Street, but it's not nowhere near as good. It's called Wesley Street, which is not too far away from here. Me and Di were walking along there thinking, bloody hell, the state of this place, you know. And we used to go here every Kerry, Wesley Street. Walked on broken pavements with broken childhood sentiment. Walked on broken dreams. Walked Southport back streets, now dead-end streets for deadbeats. Not as pretty as once seemed. I found myself on Wesley Street. Found myself with dirty feet. Seaside, didn't feel the heat. The broken panes, the broken drains. The streets once changed, now voids remain. Out on Wesley Street. Mock Tudor beams on high-rise homes. Dreams clad in Yorkshire stone. Flaking painted garden gnomes. Travellers in immobile homes. Deadheads on dead mobile phones. A seance is what you'll need to contact the living on Wesley Street. Hackney's acid drop outside. Hackneyed charity shops. Shadows sleep in doorways where hackneyed charity stops. Never had it your way. Never had it poor ways. Or down and out on Wesley Street. Covered by the cover-up, only Satan could have dreamt up. Now left to huddle up with 2 cold plates of meat. How few togs before you freeze, before you die upon your knees, amongst the sleaze of Wesley Street. Like a Bolshoi croc she stands out, too proud for a handout. A has-been, they shout out. and never be just down and out. Guttural screams ring out, made by some rotting meat on the rotten row. That's Wesley Street. Outside of the coffee shop, waiting for the coffee slops, or caramel crumbs, chocolate dropped, a bolted ego for some cop. Say those things have got to stop while meeting out a baton shop in a doorway on Wesley Street. Drop-dead bakes and drop-dead makes, reactive knee-jerks, neon bars from forgotten decades, day-glow hide and what's decayed, retching banshees from stretched fleets, throwing up on Wesley Street. The ball and bread with silver spoons, drop-dead gorgons, stagnite moons, practice runs to be a groom, the lonely end in bride and gloom. Wouldn't spend a honeymoon, brides would never put their feet across the threshold of Wesley Street. The hens out in their sticky outs, the cocks out for the cock's night out, trying too hard to impress, posing, flaunting, fancy dress, an Elvis mutton chop, coiffured tress, preening like some catwalk meat. Trash is in fashion out on Wesley Street. Can't believe what they all see. From a different world it seems. It's just a tramp, no man of means, laying there in his own steam, clad in tattered jester's jeans, with slapstick justice they help to beat. The clown that sleeps on Wesley Street. He got the punchline, didn't he? He's not a bit like you and me. Go on, have a dig, feel free. Go there now and you deserve a treat. You dig the sport, just wait and see. When you dig the clown on Wesley Street, come trace your childhood fall of feet, where the sadness and the madness meet, may leave a taste so bittersweet. But there the grace go we. But don't go preaching he is free. Many you'd never want to be down and out on Wesley Street.
Thank you very much, Tony. Absolutely brilliant. Absolutely loved that. Excellent. We'll be having a break shortly, but first we have another poet from the great Southport scene. Would you please welcome Merseyside's master of one-liners, Kev. Very good, Kev.
Cheers, mate.
Thanks, Kev.
I'll just wait for that thunderous round of applause to die down before I start. Okay. So, my name's Kevin, as you just heard, and I've been asked to do a bit of a warm-up, so we put the heating on.
Next one.
Thank you. I've started yet. So, I can only hope. But I thought I'd start by doing my one and only party trick. Get it out of the way, I still remember it. And it's doing the alphabet backwards. It's not easy, so I'll just do it now. A, B, C, D, E.
I don't get it.
You never get to.
I always breathe now, he's out of the mic.
Okay, that's my heavy breathing. Thought I was on the phone. So, anyway, it's not as hard as it looks, as a word you don't want to hear in the bedroom. I should know. Air bricks, not a fan. On the other hand, windmills, big fan. I had an argumentative auntie who lived in Southport until last year, and she used to say to me, I've lived in Southport all my life. And I used to say, not yet, you haven't. And sadly, she died a few months later. I remember being in the cemetery thinking to myself, some people go to any lengths to win an argument. Now, I noticed recently that Southport are doing quite well in the league, aren't they?
Yeah.
Well, was it National, North, whatever?
don't even know.
I don't know, I just saw them on a game.
North Conference.
Right, okay. So, I also saw that the Southport women's ballet football team were doing really well. They had a 2-2 draw the other day. I had a problem with a burst pipe in my house the other day. There's tobacco everywhere. Some people say about my house, they say, Kevin, you're really house proud. And I say, I agree. In fact, my house is like a palace. Very much like Caesar's palace. In that it's normally full of drunk gamblers and hookers. My cousin recently decided to come out of the closet, which made a right mess of his clothes. My neighbour came round to me the other day and she wasn't happy. She said she'd just been cutting the grass. I said, well, that'll teach him to keep his mouth shut then, won't it? I bought, she likes it anyway. Just move around the room and just keep laughing. So
It's a northern humour, I'm only just remembering it.
Oh, thanks. Okay, so I bought a dog. It was a golden retriever. Unfortunately, it's got no legs. In fact, you would say it's legless. And Tipsy often falls over, but she's fine usually. And I've found that she's very intelligent, as retrievers are. I've already taught her how to stay. And unfortunately, taking her on her exercises around the park's a bit of a drag. I saw a policeman at the station over there. He wasn't happy. He had a G-clamp on his head. I said, what do you got a G-clamp on your head for? He said, I work in Vice. I was going to do a medley of my favourite jokes from deadpan comics, but sodom, they don't go in your mind.
Just want to come back and sit down.
Hey, you can come on after if you want. I used to do 2 marathons a month.
I went to 17 the other day, it was more funny.
Right, okay. Come up and do it.
Yeah, okay.
You sure? I'm happy if you come up and outdo me. Right, okay.
Go for a piss.
Okay, go for a piss then. Okay, so I used to do 2 marathons a month when I was younger, but I did that right up to the point where they changed the name to Snickers bars.
Oh.
I find fishmongers are very conceited. They just sell fish. I went to my mate's wedding the other week. I got really drunk and fell in the cake. I was in tears. His wife wasn't very happy. She threatened to kill me. It was a veiled threat. I went to the curry house down here, just round the corner, the other day, and asked for a nan. They brought me an 80-year-old woman. It wasn't the worst takeaway I've ever had. She made a nice breakfast though. I went out the other day and got really drunk. Came and unfortunately it led me to wetting the bed.
Hey!
Yeah.
I've done that a few
We've
times.
all done it, haven't we? You got me a lifetime ban from IKEA. No more meatballs for me, I'm afraid. My mate got arrested for throwing egg yolks into hot water. They did him for poaching. I went to an art class the other day, still life it was, and there was just a pedestal in the middle of the room, and there was just a round piece of bread on this pedestal. And I said to the other guys in the class, "You're supposed to draw that." He said, "Yeah, it's a role model." Enjoy yourselves. I went to Subway the other day. I said, "Can I have a chicken wrap?" He said, "Sure." C to the H, H to the I to the C. I said, "You can piss off, I'm not paying £5.40 for that." I saw a policewoman at the top of Lord Street. She was very good looking. She was tasering a drunk guy. She was a stunner. It's a shocking joke, that. My granddaddy got run over by a steamroller, which was very sad, in that he was on his way to McDonald's to buy a flat white. He was a big fan of, thank you, he's a big fan of fast food, so we buried him in a pizza box. Domino's sponsored the funeral, and I say sponsored, they delivered it 30 minutes too late, so we got the funeral for free. I went to the theatre last week, and it was really noisy. I fell asleep in the end, woke up again. It was even noisier. Fell asleep again, woke up again. I thought to myself, this is the worst operation I've ever had. I came on the other day and somebody had stolen my front lawn. The police came round and said they thought it was some kind of turf war. I went to change some money last week and to go on holiday. And I went to the Bureau de Change, and there was a young French girl behind the counter. She can't have been more than about 12. I said, "What are you doing there?" She said, "I'm a foreign exchange student." I decided to make a sex tape. The only problem is the neighbours keep closing the curtains. I had to go out line dancing, but I kept getting tangled up in the washing. I'll leave you with this one. I'm sure some of you will be relieved. But I'm having problems with my boss. He's a bit of a pain in the arse. And I thought to myself, you know, it's really a big shame that I'm self-employed. Thank you very much. Good night. Bye.
Thanks very much, Kev. Fantastic. So, we're going to take a quick break, shut up time to get yourself to the bar or have a cigarette outside. Thanks very much, everyone who's performed so far, and to our audience. And also, thank you to the thousands of people watching on the internet there. For instance, Kate Jenkinson and Mary Leanne are just two of the possibly hundreds of thousands of people watching us at home. So be sure to be back in 5 minutes. We've got 4 more great poets and Tanvir. Thank you.
Aye. Excellent. Cheers. Okay then. Well done, boys. On the change. It's fine, well, it's fine. I'll see you about alright, mate. I was maybe do a poem with yourself after the break.
Not sure if I can do
They should have like a device you can just tune in and
I might say something about them.
so it's good to put nice mix, isn't it? Mix my face.
I'm printed out again, having seen it. Yeah. I'm not quite finished the one I was looking at, so it's a bit different.
How therapeutic it can be.
Well, I actually realised that I didn't have to sit at my desk to do it. I could actually watch television. Why do you realise you can do that? You can't do it. Did I go to do it? Actually plan to do it. Because I haven't got this. Yes, but it was so scary. Make a tablecloth and pray. So nice looking. Someone's got to the year and got our own hair sign. Can't believe I only brought one hair back.
You need actually at least 10 pairs of
I had
hands.
2 or 3 and I must have built a heavy in suitcases. That's why you very well. I can't believe I only brought one pair. I was saying I must search the suitcase a little bit because I left some in the combat.
You always need at least 10 pairs of shoes. Female, you need at least 10 pairs. Oh, yeah,
Brown and black are decent. Tan and white training shoes and my sandals. And I think I've got slippers. What is interesting, the majority of the shoes that I've got are the ones I bought to take to Canada 7 years ago. And I was probably wearing them before I went. There was one. Yeah. Yeah, I'm really good quality. Oh yeah, oh yes. Well, yes, except in the winter you have to wear boots. Like the way I'm using it when I say it's snowing on Christmas Day, and that's what I got 3 snowflakes on top of No, when I was over there, someone sent me a photograph of the snow. And that will be there till May. It's not that we've got it today.
You stop
the roads and stuff.
travelling, didn't he answer? But
I
then
want to know where
No,
the
I'm only
operating
Western Street.
said.
we'll be home and
And the rest of the coffee.
yeah.
Would you like these to get it installed and stuff like that?
There's nothing urgent, it was just an
It's not as bad as here. I mean, at the beginning of in the winter, there's very icy few days. They're threatening. It's like frightening me. Because I came into a house and everything was fine. I walked onto the road, there was one corner that was like glass. I then didn't feel safe. There's snow on the ground. We know it's compact down. We know it's just we walk. Yes, for people who learn to walk on this, I don't understand it. All young people walk and you walk all the time. You don't feel yourself to walk because of that.
I can always get your set of keys.
And the snow.
The rain was going north. It was
No, I miss the spring. The autumn was brilliantly busy.
I haven't had anything back from the
You're all right? Excellent. Brilliant. Lovely stuff. Nice one. All right, good. You're gonna on after me.
Okay.
I'm on now, and then we're gonna do a quick story, and then you're on.
A story?
Yeah, a
Once
story.
upon a time.
Yes.
Oh, you sound happy, sorry.
Yeah, as I say, Pam, once upon a time, I'd like to share with you a little story about one of the most interesting characters I've ever met, right? I used to do a bit of fishing on the canal, and normally when you catch a fish, they don't look happy about it, yeah? But one day, I caught this little fish, and he looked made up to be dangling on the end of that line. I said to him, "Hey fish, you love that, don't you?" He said, "Yeah, how did you get into that fish, lad?" He said, "Well, there's never much going on in our canal. It's the same every day, I tell you now. There's no change in weather in our man-made river. It's our life giver, but boring." Then one morning, I heard a mate say, "Get up, let's get fired." Now, he was not one to seek attention, so I let him speak, and he did mention, "Let's get twisted, let's get wired." I was scared, but he insisted he'd found a key to another dimension. But it came with warning. It's hardcore. You take off with no ground clearance, a once-in-a-lifetime experience, but I'll come back for more. I said, "Okay, because I'm all day, I'm a sinner, a natural-born swimmer." Through the grime and the slime, we went on the lookout for a shimmer, a glimmer, a sign that there was a hook out, so I could have my first time, hang from end of line, and become a winner, or end up as someone's dinner. See that twinkle in the light? Get in there and fucking bite. Not much to learn. See that worm? Bite down hard with all your might. It'll start to fight, so hold on tight. Whoosh! From this world I was taken, if I'm not mistaken, launched into space. Bone dry, I fly to a forbidden place. Yes, I'm there, drown in air, follow if you dare. Such a scare, feel I'm about to slowly die, but I don't care, and I'll tell you why. I've got no feet and I'm off my face. I don't care for complete disgrace. I'm travelling through time and space. My face disappear without a trace, inspiring me to rhyme and verse. Be they curse, but I've had worse. They can't touch me in my special place, in my brand new universe. I had my prize before my eyes. It was a decent size. And as I lay there, compromised, paralysed, and yet somehow liberated and free, I suddenly realised, and I tell you no lies, he thought he'd caught me. And I contemplated as I lay twitching on the bank. Are our angels predators in disguise? Is this really a canal or just one big tank? I don't know, because I'm not wise, but to those that put us here I did give thanks. And now I'm always itching for a stitch in, to get away and stray from life's bitching. Tug, tug, tug on the line, out my way, that maggot is mine. That's my meal, I feel the need. Don't you steal, I've greater greed. I need to feel that steel through my jaw. I can break every natural law. Does not quite get me like it did before. In fact, it's starting to feel really sore, and yet I'm always going back for more. They tried to make me take a break, cause I look fucked. But what else are we doing here for? I don't know, but one thing's for sure, I'm hooked on getting hooked. Epilogue. Well, it's true. I was told by those that know, lay off the hooks if old you want to grow. Carry on and you've had it, with head like fried haddock. You'll end up like Joel the soul, will go the way of Jim. You remind me of him, his only goal, adventure. Now he lives like no fish is meant to, forever blowing bubbles in a goldfish bowl. Thank you. Next up, we have another wonderful poet from Southport. Let's hear it for Zoe. Yes.
That's perfect, thank you.
That's brilliant. Looks a bit high, doesn't it? That's better.
Yeah, thank you. Bread, milk and tins, you saw rough hands, just you laid in arms, not bag with bread, milk and tins inside. You heard the harshness in his voice, a tangle in the words, but you did not see the smile, the kind word. You felt the rush of the bank, saw a gathering of friends, felt threatened by the numbers. You did not see the toys coming out. You saw the fear of silence in his eyes, the pain etched in his face, and the wetness of his cheeks. You turned away with trembling hands. You raised the alarm and turned away, lost words. Yet something stirred, realisation and understanding slipped beyond looks, voice and harsh bites. But look instead with pain, the innermost feelings, and then make your judgment. Broken man. Empty skin, shattered bones, empty shells, a reminder of bitter regret and the harsh truth. No winners or losers, just the ache of loss of what could have been. No heroes but drawn, broken men, sunken eyes and grey skin, the real truth of all, and the overhanging guilt, small arms wrapped round by a little comfort, as guilt drops its fall, as voice to the dying call, please save me, please. Horse, hooves pulled round, not frozen by ice, but as tears shed, as they watch a riser fall helpless, to help stand back up, to wrap arms round and comfort. They smell the same fear, feel the same pain, limbs too different, words too painful to speak. As dust burn lungs and cheeks sting with the burning heat, and as hooves continue to pour, thousand thoughts and memories roam and crawl as they remember the days playing in the fields and longing, wishing to go back to those days of apples and sugar.
Yes. Excellent. Absolutely brilliant, Howie. Now we have another poet from Southport with a big name on the Liverpool scene. I think it was actually at Wigan where I first saw Bob perform. Seen him perform many times. Let's hear it for Bob. Poet. How's the mic height for you, Bob?
Looks alright.
Good stuff.
It may come as a surprise to many of you when you look at me, young, pale, that I'm actually retired.
Oh.
Shocking, but this is called retirement. Time has become my time, unshackled from the grind, free to follow my dreams. Playtime becomes all time, age becomes a shield I can shelter behind. Responsibilities are unsought obligations now parked in history, memories to forget. Whilst I traverse new paths, blazing my own trails, the directions I take will be my own choosings. Destinations could be much more to my liking and much more exciting, or they may disappoint. It's all down to me. We've seen some impressive examples of imagination over the past hour or so. Relief fish. Imagination. Thunderclouds circle round my head, releasing bolts of lightning which flame into my brain, where words scatter like frightened mice, searching for holes to hide in. I leap on stepping stones between real and fancy, with diversions, reversals, not knowing where the next step leads, or when the end is near. Creativity leads me on, through the possible to the improbable, through the incredible to the impossible. Love and hatred twist their coils, intertwine and drift apart. Triumph preludes disaster, disaster becomes triumph. Nothing is quite what it seems. God and devil harangue each other. From opposite sides of the mirror, until it shatters in a myriad shards which scatter through empty skies, creating new galaxies, new beginnings, new endings, new lives, new stories. The ferryman. A squall fed by careless words sent him rushing to his haven. He pushed off from the shore, oars scarcely bruising the water. Practiced technique diverting anger into calmer channels. She sits waiting, rehearsing apologies, anticipating passionate reconciliation, until she starts awake as dawn's crimson alarm caresses her face. Dismayed, she stands on the shore, converting each distant speck, waiting, refusing to acknowledge his relationship to the beach ghost with cold blue lips. She waits until in time she pays her coin, then raises her face to find unity again with her lost Sharon.
Yeah.
Easter is now over, I'm told. Peculiar thing about being retired, all bank holidays don't really exist, everything. It's a perpetual bank holiday, I suppose. Anyway, the next one I think is May Day. Yeah, it's coming very soon. A time of quaint, innocent customs, English customs, which include the maypole and the maypole dance. This is May Day dance. The time-honoured maypole stands on the green. Dancers entwine ribbons betwixt and between. The bands playing tunes cheerful and old, though somewhat boring, if truth is told. Children career from the games to the stalls, until they are summoned by mothers' calls to come to the table and sit down to eat. When they're full to busting, their days complete, it's time for good night, then it's off to bed, while the booze comes out for the night ahead. Ribbon fingers caress the rigid pole. The sun resigns from its leading role, becomes upstaged by a sickled moon. Pan's leading the band, they're playing his tune. Blood runs past her, senses become inflamed, as long-held principles become unclaimed. Now reservations are stumbling, inhibitions begin crumbling, eager fingers busy fumbling, shaking bodies busy tumbling. Taught morality is veering, clothes are quickly disappearing, as body parts begin rearing, the climax swiftly nearing. This erotic exploration, instilling imagination, steering stunning stimulation, which concludes in conjugation. This inspiring interaction sources seismic satisfaction. Now Pan carefully packs his pipes away, thus bringing an end to this May Day play. Thank you.
Absolutely wonderful, thank you, Bob. So we have another poet from Southport. I suppose to just stop saying a poet from Southport, like I'm all shocked and surprised when it's a spoken word open mic in Southport. I've only seen the guy perform a couple of times. Both times have been absolutely brilliant. Let's stare it into space. I'm not sure if you're aware about to call him up. Let's hear it for JD.
Cheers. Are you still allowed to drink on stage? I remember the days when you could smoke.
You are.
Right, let's lower the tone.
You couldn't after that.
After Pan's pipes, you can lower it more, can you?
Yeah, this is called glove puppetry of the arse. If you can remember it.
From the altruistic antics of borrowed vox to the auction of assets at the dispatch box to the views on the news, the charade of fact, the world is their stage and all is an act. If the curtains unveiling this familiar set, the lighting's illusions will help you forget that you're just seeing the same old scene. Punch and Judy with a petroleum sheen. Punch and Judy in a bistro called Hell, a Faustian feast for all they can sell, where from menus that are scripted in invisible ink, they fatten themselves, subjugated by drink, and convivial waiters whose pretense is to please spit in the food as they smile through their teeth. Then they serve up the bill with a repayment plan, reciprocate signatures with a wringing of hands. On the grease in their palms, they're in elbow deep, up with a swazzle that all they can speak is a dizzying opera of language disguised, ambiguous linguistics in layman's terms lies. It's pantomime policy, a cabaret of despair, an historical tragedy that's repeatedly aired, where the glare of the spotlights fall on all who refuse to play out their roles and follow their cues. Like marionettes prompted by the edges of knives, they dance euthanophobic, choreographed by their guides, while would-be protagonists are waiting the wings to join in the chorus when the fat lady sings. Forever the cast, they shall all have their hour, from the couch of submission to the benches of power, with their pants round their ankles, grease up the arse. That's the way to do it till they've worn out their parts. And it ends with no encore when the house lights are raised. There'll be no denial, we're all props on their stage, for they'll roll up their sleeves and go on with this farce. For they are the gloved puppeteers of the arse. Thank you.
Yeah.
This next one, I quite like microphone stands, but this one's offensive. This one is dedicated to the old paper notes, the £10. Years and years ago in school, I don't know where it was, I read it, a few poets have said how you always remember the names of the teachers that had the best effects on you. And I had a teacher when I was about 8, Mrs. Whitby, who set us a school project to write a composition from the perspective of a 10-pence piece. And wanting to be a bit different, I asked if I could make that from a £1 note, and I was told no. I'm not being very rebellious as an 8-year-old. I obliged and wrote a 10-pence coin poem. However, a few years later, it came to me that I still haven't written that poem I wanted to write. So this is the one. It's called £10 Tale. Into the world, crisp and clean, I was birthed through a wall by a cash machine. From the palm of a hand to the cradle of a pocket, in the warmth of a wad, I was swaddled in a wallet. I was raised as a pony with a fiver and a tenner, came of age as a monkey, wore a faint sense of leather, boarded with a banker, lodged around town, bedding with bills from the ship to the crown. I lived for the moment, tended for thrills, I slipped over counters, pulled a few tills, tended, expended, but so little was gained, just a rattle of change I begat and estranged. Over time many shells that leave light of a book have lost count of the hands of merchants have shook. The gangs have hung out with the nights in my life, lost on a wheel or a roll of a dice. I've been tipped, I've been gifted, ultravioletly scanned, held hostage in a grand by a fat rubber band, massaged by rollers of self-service tills, sandwiched in orgies with all manner of bills. I've been rolled up cylindrical, I've had the Queen kiss my ass, my body contorted, I sailed upon glass, sailed upon mirrors that were charted by razors. I was taken up the nasal passage by a frenzy of faces. Then after out in a jacket with a lean bit of plastic, I was spun out and hung out, washed up past it, hung out to dry with a line on a flutter. I took the route of the wind to the filth of the gutter, lost several hours in the dirt and the muck, till some passing stranger chanced me a look, gave me a smile, picked me back up, raised me from the tread of the tyres of a truck. And so for a while in a homemade of denim, under his arse I sank into depression, plunged into darkness down the side of his sofa. I was so literally screwed up, I fell into a coma. Was revived by a pinch and with a pen stroke of luck, I spent a week in a birthday card, pressed flat, sealed shut. Slowly recovered, safe in the dark, from the words of a poet on a wage from Hallmark. I suppose on reflection it could have been worse. I once did time under the clasps of a purse, with a 2-bob bent copper removed from his station by the decree of a mint at the rate of inflation. And I've known the odd note with a watermark of a bastard, lambasted, disputed, very rarely transacted, and of faith-seeking fivers on a pilgrimage to a bureau made an ill-timed conversion from the pound to the euro. I've seen coinage collected, compacted in jars, sacrificed silver become tickets in cars, cascades of pennies in suicide arcades, oxidised cadavers in wishing well graves. All this I've seen from the brim of a pocket, but heard of such things in the folds of a wallet. But now I'm resigned to ending my days with the old and the soiled, the torn and the frayed, condemned by the washer that faded my hue, and the inky black tumour of a ballpoint tattoo, and declined, redefined little more than scrap paper, out of mind and consigned to the wake for my maker. And I ache through nostalgia, it burdens my days, when I think of the joy and the glasses I raised. For once I was welcomed wherever I went. Now I am worthless, devalued, spent.
Yeah!
How about that, Jamie? I forgot me pal, so excited. Now we've got the first person to perform who I've never actually seen perform myself before. As another poet, let's hear it for Emma. Welcome to the stage.
Do you want to take it out of the sound? What are you going to do? Right, another rebel.
I've thought that through because I'm reading one of my phones. So, bear with.
Do you want to stand back?
There you be. This first one, I've been writing a lot of poetry that's just really angry.
Yes.
But everyone's done it better than me, so I'm just going to say the newest one that's the least Irish I've got.
Say it. Oh, thanks. You have Eric's permission, so just say it. Say
Let's get on with it then. Right. This one's about my nan, but it could have been about a lot of people's nan my age. You know, sort of women that could stare Hitler in the face but don't really talk to her kids. What's that line from Philip Larkin? Man hands on misery to mouth, it deepens like a coastal shelf. Well, this is about that. It's called The Journey. She tramped up Hope Hill from the small cold house to her daughter's home. Day after day, regardless of the weather, always bearing gifts. Carefully chosen for their discretion, never peaches and never stones. And all accepted with a lazy malice and sorted quickly into the useful and the discarded. And still she came, and the smaller she shrank, and the harder the path, the more she clung to the hope of atonement. It nourished her when life no longer did. She used every means to gain it, other than words. Offered the pain of the journey as penance, the rhyme of the steps as prayers. When her pilgrimage ended, it was a sharp surprise. She had not thought to be one of those women who turns her face to the wall, and yet there she lay, under the ground she had walked on, occupying more space in the world than she had while above it, or that any of her remembered wrongs had done. The girl who watched from the window could see the stones on the path that tripped them all up, sent them crying into small, quiet corners, and she broadcast loud warnings, using every means other than words. But the unheard become belligerent. They sit in tall chairs, sorting gifts into the useful and the discarded. And in the corner, a baby gurgles from rosy teething cheeks, milky, wordless promises that next time the journey will be easier. This next poem was about 2-3 years ago. I was being introduced to someone for the first time by a friend, and then in that sort of little kind of polite chitty chat that English people have, I realised that we weren't strangers, that we'd met a long, long time ago. In fact, we worked together as catering students when we were 16, and it was kind of quite discombobulating, so I wrote a poem about it. So this is partly about that, partly because, to be honest, my life's not all that interesting, about my favourite Human League song, which Louise, since you asked. Try to remember this. No, I wouldn't have remembered you either, but that chance remark, and then the penny drops. And now I look closely, I can see him. That boy whose face shares house room with yours. You say I'm smaller, louder, and I laugh, as if those weren't things hard won. I look in your eyes, and they say no surrender. Perhaps they're only flesh wounds. 30 years on the march, you and I, away from small town, candy-floss dreams. And here we are back at barracks, with warm boots and a wry smile on God's face. And you know, I never thought we were friends, just shared that brittle camaraderie of outsiders. But now that you tell me, I remember. You, coaxing me on the Big Dipper. Us tucking you out of that tattoo. I imagine it now on your arm, fading to an inky smudge, like the one I got 2 years later. What is permanent is not unchanging. And when you don't remember my name, but the fact I wouldn't meet, it's a lesson in what defines us. Ahead of my time? Yeah, we were. All these days, our crimes wouldn't get us a caution. Me with my strange ways and ideas. You, and all the things flamboyant implied. Was that all as easy as you made it look? I don't suppose it matters now. Youth is for some, age for others. For now, the world and all that is in it is ours, at least for as long as our knees hold out. She's stitched in gold thread, though it's the most expensive and difficult to work. The words, fuck you, under the hem of the coat left out for her to mend. Though it remains unseen, she'll smile every time she thinks of it. Just because you do not see them doesn't mean the voiceless are not speaking. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Emma. Yes. Now, Southport Soapbox is brought to you by Antivirus Publications, and the other events that Antivirus Publications brings to people is the Headliners Slam, which takes place on the third Monday of every month at Scholars in Liverpool, the Scholars Bar. We have the Slam at the first part of the show and open mic at the second part of the show. And last week we held the Slam, and the winner of the Slam has actually joined us recently. Richie won the Slam. Are you going to? Yes. Please welcome to the stage, Richie. Excellent. Well done for winning the Slam.
I haven't got poetry files, so it'll have to be stuff like I can remember. Oh, right. Who knows what a lolcat is? Go on. They were an early internet meme, so it's a picture of a cat doing something, then an anthropomorphic caption underneath.
My cat pisses in the toilet.
Yeah, that's the sort of thing. It's all fairly anodyne stuff, but I'm giving them both barrels in this next piece anyway. It's called the Hypocrite's Hit List. Could protest against the fallout, the nuclear wind that blows. Instead you spend your time watching amusing videos. If knowledge is power, the internet could free mankind. Instead it's stupid cartoons seen 3 million times. Upgraded routers download content faster so you can see more celebrity gossip disasters. Ignore the climate change, the floods and the oil slicks, mining heavy metals so that you can double click on cats with captions. Cats with captions, 9/11 lizard people, alien abductions, cats with captions, cats with captions, no content like documents after redaction. Now I don't mean to come across as all superior, just because I get emails on the war in Syria, but did you realise your government was acting so nefarious? Or were you busy typing, "Watch this man, it's hilarious"? Years of distraction, face plus screen plus glue. Movies of your children posted up on YouTube. Took your eye off the ball and now it's getting too late. The very same children live in a police state with cats with captions. Cats with captions, the vacuous and fast will prove the ultimate distraction. Cats with captions, put your brain in a cast, put your mind in traction. Playing Angry Birds until 12:10, or else peruse material labelled top shelf. Smut and titillation till your mind begins to fade. More cash spent on pornography than on foreign aid. A nation of colour bins, all numbered sequential. A stunted generation of wasted potential. Hooked on trivia, a new breed of couch potato. Or logged onto Facebook, writing LMA. Oh, cats with captions. Cats with captions. I think I've made it clear that I don't see the attraction of cats with captions. Flipping cats with captions. Click on something serious, damn it, and take action.
Yeah!
What else to do now? I could do an emergency limerick. There was once a sailor from Ainsdale who had hair the colour of hay bales. With his diet of kelp, needed medical help if he wanted to hoist up his mainsail.
Yes.
I was going to do like a cover, but since it's on video, I'll do my one from the poetry slam. It's called Shaking Aesop. I trimmed it down to 3 minutes, so I'll try and do the extended version, but I keep fluffing it and taking a shortcut by accident. It starts with a prop, and it's a string that's snapped. It's a metaphor for all the crap, daily laps at feet that tap. Makes me a fairly angry chap. Stuff this information age, I'm analog with pen and page. I bear this blade of truth on stage. These are the spiders and the flies from which I'm made. Pathetic epithets and beats that leave you squirming in your seat. A shriek of sordid self-disgust must be the only God I trust to still be there when I wake up. Conducting all the words, I'm fucked if I can tell where this is going. Blowing Zyklon poison with the poise I'm showing. While no cyclonic noise accompanies this breeze of words until my engine's ceased, turn these absurd syllables from lungs that wheeze. Exhaust the caustic force of this distorted choice until my voice is hoarse, from spilling saline tales of wins and fails, and rhymes in pairs found down amongst the shale. They pale, they stop, words closely cropped. I'm shaking Aesop from the rafters, brothers grimly mourning after, smothered dimly stifled laughter. And after dawn the frog prince mincing, wincing at the sight of crazed mob lynching, rumble stiltskin swinging from a lamppost, singing lyrics written whilst out on lager binging, a twinge of guilt, singeing winning tortoise in the boozer, rehypnol making witless hair a loser, there in dingy alleyway a snooze, stitched up, bitched up fairy blues, decide which wicked path to choose, while bruised, Prince Charming throwing up all down his tunic, beatbox blaring gingerbread house music, buy a gram of fairy dust and use it. Yes, with these pot shots at the undeserving, swerving towards imagery that's so unnerving, while the dervishes are dancing beneath the stanchions of this castle, meanwhile burning woods advancing, fashioned from the scars, marring skin another 50 lashes down the line, this dunce inanely killing time. In insanely futile fashion, daily draining life of passion, thrashing out the chords, we're crashing back to fractured earth. As worthless as the counterfeit doubloons that rest, caked in cheap gold paint in Long John Silver's chest. So try to get the measure of this ersatz pseudo-treasure as the lawyers blame the weather at the next inquest into how balloon met lamppost, DUI arrest, after Phileas Fogg had failed his breathalyzer test. I confess, this is a stingy portion served up with a side of mean, an obscene tortured Tolkien in a bath of beans. See this impoverished hobbit, like the petrol bomb and lob it, fight police hawks trying to stop it. Dropped in choky chains of steel, forfeit all right of appeal, given life by judge decree, the charge? Mordor in the first degree. Thank you. So as I rage, my audiences groan, while between the pages of this sordid tome, past it Gandalf languishes in old folks' home, the shy defence league shouting racist slogans to a megaphone. Elves go home! So please suggest an ending, not this token gesture fending off this chronic overspending, economic crash impending. When all you bastards care about is blending in, not standing up to all the troops they're sending in the pit descending scale on violin, bringing tears to eyes for strains of rising strings. But the music's out of time as soon as it begins. Conductor head in hands, he knows he cannot win, and in amongst this din the sudden thunderclap, baton poised before the maddening collapse. Perhaps I should have taken heed and stuck to rap, but the moment I joined in was when my E string snapped.
Yes, one more time for Richie. Coming to the end of the Southport Soapbox. Looks like James is getting ready to leave, so let's hear it for the performers again. We've had Aaron, James, Pam, Tony, Kev, Zoe, Bob, Jamie, Emma. I think that's everyone. So we'll be back again next month on the 4th Tuesday of the month, I guess. We're coming on to have to say a few words. We missed somebody out. Have we missed somebody out?
Okay.
You coming on now? Yeah. Thanks very much. Tanvir!
Yeah, thanks to the audience. I mean, I was there all this time waiting. I'm going to do a new poem, very quick one, and every time I say that I'm going to do a new poem, they will say, yeah, Dick, you're not getting paid that way, isn't it? A normal human being, with body and memory, blood and amnesia, moves on, as the flame of the welding lamp is terrified, breathing life. That may turn off. Just like me and my things, it's remembered and then forgotten. From the faces, from the hands and bones, the happiness, the dead, the flowers, the birds, the game of the hours. Names I don't remember anymore. Eyebrows, breath, pelvis, basket, bananas, flags. Our currency perfume is kindled. And mate, I don't understand anything in life except a common battle for better world. I've been a poet, but poetry is fragile, doesn't move, nor will people make it move. We talk and time passes, and it's all there. Muscle and slaughter, and the arms that bring human life to blood and packing. A normal person, me, just like you, I'll cross the street and with the shadows of the monstrous, stained landscape and muddy sea, and if it comes back to childhood, I'll carry flowers and hungers. But we're millions of people, we are ordinary people, a ball of bodies cemented with dreams. Beyond that, I want to remember today the 10 shoes I have seen. This is Europe. This is 2019. See, you are wrong. I mean, it's not what you call, like, fuck Brexit. I mean, fuck Brexit, yes. But if you had an asshole, I would kiss it. I mean, it's become what you call searching for a quick solution has become a disease of our time. I mean, it always existed, but now, in some cultures, it's like an attribute, and it's shocking. I mean, Rumi said, more than water, seek thirst. And if you don't feel the thirst, our pain absolves us blindly. I mean, there is no exit. Polarization, like you said, I mean, opinion, speeches without love, or even the foundation of hate gives us a referral of a false image of the action in our absolute passivity. It's a pandemic, and it's contingent. You have to take care. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.